In the south of France now. Here's Professor Clive Williams from the ANU. Hi, Clive. Your reaction, firstly, to what's happened?
Well, I think that there's a general expectation in France that these kind of attacks will continue to occur. And this is, in fact, the ninth attack this year so far. And 10 people have died in France in terrorist attacks this year.
What was the motive for this attack?
Well, it seems that the person who was involved in the attack, a young Tunisian guy, had come into France via Lampedusa, and I suspect he probably wasn't able to get employment. He was probably a bit disaffected anyway, and he perhaps was inspired by Islamic State. That seems to be the general situation with young Muslims in France. And as far as I know at this stage, it doesn't seem that there was any connection with anybody else. But the thing is, I think that there is a wide level of disaffection in France, and it's a large population. The French Muslim population is the world's largest Muslim population outside of majority Muslim countries, and they're maybe 10% of the population, but 70% of the jail population. So that maybe gives you a feel for the level of disaffection and discrimination to some extent in France.
What's prompted that? There have been criticisms of how the French government has handled its bid to crack down on radical Islam.
Yes, I think that it's not been a very tolerant approach, and that, of course, has tended to alienate people. I found myself, when I've been in France, that young French Muslims say that they are discriminated against. They're not seen as French. They came from, which might be Algeria, Tunisia, or wherever, doesn't regard them anymore as being from that country. So they're sort of between two places and not really accepted by either. And in France, in employment, there's been studies that show that there is discrimination against Muslims. So they have a number of reasons, I guess, to be disaffected, other than perhaps what they might see as affronts to Islam.
You mentioned previous attacks there, Clive. One of the most recent was, only about 2 weeks ago, this beheading of a school teacher in Paris for showing his students controversial cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. But do you see this perhaps as the start of a new wave of terror attacks in France? And should other countries also be on heightened alert?
There had been a sort of a hiatus during the height of the first wave of the COVID-19 epidemic, but it seems to be picking up again now, even though there is a second wave of COVID-19 in France. And I think that the French can expect to have more attacks as we go further into, towards the end of this year. This attack was, and there might have been another incident in Avignon, although it may have also been a person who was mentally disturbed. But I think that that being Muhammad's birthday was an auspicious time. So I think the French should be thinking about, between now and Christmas perhaps, that there'll be more attacks, and to be prepared for that.
And should other countries then be on alert as well, or does France have particular conditions which make them ripe for more attacks, as you describe?
Yes, I think France stands out because it's got such a large Muslim population, but these kind of attacks, the kind of thing that Islamic State promotes, which is mainly knife attacks and vehicle rammings, can take place anywhere. They don't need much planning, only need one person to carry them out. So, I think all of Europe and even Australia, has the potential for these kind of attacks.
Clive Williams, thank you.
My pleasure.